So what I'm going to do is I did do a slight bit of pre-sectioning. We're going to break it all down. I did post it on my stories. I posted a time lapse of myself kind of dialing in this sectioning, but I want to simplify this for you, okay? So very simply, she has a horseshoe-shaped section through the front, okay? So this entire top section is a horseshoe section, and the reason this top section is extremely important, and just so you know, this is my feather razor. I'm going to put it down for a second to show you this because we are using an unguarded blade today. But the reason this is such an important section is because this is basically like a pixie bob sandwich. This is where the bob lives. The bob lives above, like, it's like right at the parietal or below, actually. Because if you go too far above the parietal, you won't have these hairs that need to be somewhat of a bob length, where this is where your undercut is going to live, okay? So we've got several things happening here. I am going to give her bangs. We want this to be the full-blown thing, which sometimes when you have live models, you actually can't see the full-blown thing. So I'm kind of grateful that we get to just absolutely go for the exact Bixie of our dreams. So I'm going to part off her fringe section first. I always look at where the natural break in that hairline is, combing everything into my hand and kind of pushing that section back to see kind of like where it wants to sit and where that natural break is. And then I just base my parting off of where her hair naturally wants to break off. Because my goal in hair cutting is always to actually have the hairstyle itself. Like, I want my client to go home and be like, dang, like a lot of people say, oh, I got a Bixie cut and I just like don't know how to style it. And I'm like, guys, I didn't style my hair today. Maybe it shows, be kind in the comments, but I enjoy that. I really like a very organic, kind of natural thing happening where the haircut can really sing, right? So to speak. So I'm gonna lift everything up on the top of her head. And so this, to simplify it, that horseshoe-shaped section is basically broken down into 3 different sections. One is at the fringe, one is in the middle, so everything in between the fringe and the crown area. You want to make sure that you drop low enough in the crown area for it to really matter, right? So if you break it down kind of like a pixie sandwich, you'll be good, right? That's kind of the mentality. This is where a bob's gonna live, but this underneath here and this underneath here is the undercut portion of this haircut. So the underneath side section, right? So we just have a radial section, which is basically from the top of the crown to behind the ear. That's gonna give you your crown, and it's also going to give you this little front side section, which will be undercut. And bob will hang over here, and bob will also hang over here, okay? So this portion is set aside because we have more hair from here to here than we do from here to here. So from here to here, the nape area, from the crown to the nape, there's a lot of hair going on. So we have pixie, bob, pixie. And from here to here, we have pixie kind of in the middle. We'll add some layers to the top, and the fringe will be pixie, right? And then it'll be bob, which some of these are gonna hang over the pixie. So pixie, bob, pixie, pixie, bob, pixie. It is a bob sandwich, truly. So hopefully that helps like really break things down for you guys. Hey, I love your shirt, thanks. That's my Renegade Royal shirt too. I love, you know, always being on brand. Okay, let's go. We actually, anyways, based them off of like the actual haircuts that we do. So it is a fun shirt. All right, and we want some clean sections there. I'm going to kind of, so now this might drive some of your, if you're like a precision cutter, you might already be cringing. Her hair's kind of partially damp, and that was on purpose. So, because I want to be able to style this as we go. I want to be able to kind of like have there be enough dampness to have the slide of my razor be exactly what it needs to be, but enough dryness to where I can see the calyx, I can see the wave pattern. It's about that like perfectly imperfect hair. Now there's two ways to go about this. You could start here at the nape, or you can start just directly in the center. If I start at the nape, typically I'm taking more hair off of this outside. If I really want to be intentional about these outside flicks and fun hair. Hi everybody, Venezuela, Brazil. I wish I spoke Portuguese. I wish I could translate for you. I'm gonna take from the center this time, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work the center vertically, and I'm gonna kind of just slowly pivot my sections, knowing that the center point is going to be the tightest point down here, and work these kind of concave layers to get rid of the weight and preserve the lengths through the ends around her nape. Okay? Just to give you a little hi, hello, Brazil. Hi, everybody. Aw. How's it going? And now you guys are going to teach me Portuguese. Hey. So I'm going in, I'm holding my comb, you notice, like teeny tiny at the top, because I want to give myself lots of fine teeth, okay? So I'm going in with the fine teeth of my comb, going in, bringing that straight out. And what I want to do is this first section, I want to kind of have it angled to where it's a little shorter here than it is at the ends, but I still want the ends to kind of be like soft, feathery, and I'm even shaving. Okay, I'm going to regather because I'm going dangerously close to that second knuckle. But it's really not about 1-2 knuckle. It's about how much control do you have. So in your hand that's holding the hair, how much tension are you giving? And is it like, I can't give any more tension, and it's starting to get loose, and it's starting to feel unstable? You have instability here. Stop, regather, go again. Cool. So that's our first little section, and there's something so satisfying to me about the first section. It's almost as if you can visualize the whole haircut immediately, right? Okay, cool. So now I'm going to start pivoting off, and it's kind of the opposite direction than you would think. You would kind of pivot this way as if you're doing a graduated bob, but I'm kind of pivoting the opposite way. Okay, so I'm working myself towards the hairline, all right? Keeping everything nice and organized. Can you guys see? Shout at me if I have like a shoulder in the way, or if you can't hear, or if anything is obstructing your view, because I don't want you to miss this. I'm gradually over-directing, because I still want this part to be nice and tight, okay? And I'm sliding out my bottom knuckle. You can't really see the angle there, right? Let me show you the angle. So my bottom knuckle is sliding towards me so that I can get that nice concave layer, slightly over-directed to the center. I get my blade going, meaning the stroke of it going back and forth, before it even enters the hair. And as soon as I start to lose tension, I let go. I let go, drop it, and I regather. Over-directing slightly to the center and preserving those lengths. Beautiful. Next section. Pivoting. Cool. And you can even do this. I'm not really, because we're over-directing to the center, I don't have to be really super meticulous about like taking 10 million sections going this way, because it isn't a precision haircut. We want highs and lows. We want irregularity. We want that, but in a very controlled manner that will give this haircut longevity. Okay, so here's my cutting bag. Going in. Opening and closing my blade until I get to the bottom, starting to get a little bit unstable. Recollecting and go. And so the beautiful thing about the razor is that you can actually cut quite a bit of hair at once. It's more about the amount of hair that's in your hand that you're cutting than the distance right here. As long as you know what shape or form you are putting into the hair, whether it's square, triangular, or round, you can control your over direction, You could add the whole section if there's like 2 hairs on their head and cut, right? It just depends on the density. So, and this section is a bit more dense, so I'm gonna bring this over directing. I'm looking at my guide behind me, so I can see my guide. You guys can't see it, but I can see my guide, okay? But I want you to be looking at the actual haircut. So, fine tip of the comb, over directing towards me, getting that stability, using kind of the heel of my blade so the blade is like away from her head mostly. Big open strokes, lots of over direction and big open strokes, right? Because I'm creating more separation through here and a lot more like kind of like pieciness. And in a hairline that's so like dense and thick, we want to create room to play. Start bringing out like her. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you guys. Hi, you're in Spain. That's amazing. Great tip for razor cutting. Can I use shears instead? Absolutely. She's using Ultimate Repair. Yes, Miracle Hair Rescue. That is what I'm using. And so it's giving me the slip I want, and it's repairing her hair, and we're getting all of the benefits of that. I would not normally use liquid gold like Miracle Hair Rescue on a mannequin. However, you know, when your model isn't feeling well, there's nothing you can do. Okay, so I'll turn her this way for you. We're gonna do the other side, all right? You're like, that's pretty. I'm gonna kick some of this hair away because trip hazards, it's a trip hazard when you're cutting this much hair off the head. So now that I'm coming in this other side, right, I'm still working in the same manner. I'm switching the way I hold my comb. So I'm over directing slightly. I'm holding my comb up here using the fine teeth of the comb, right? Fingertips are up, over directing slightly, bringing my knuckles towards me more, and I'm going in with my blade, right? Taking into consideration, like it's almost like muscle memory. Can you guys see? Kind of. It's almost like muscle memory, right? I'm feeling in my hand that has the tension, which I'm losing tension, so I have to regather. I'm feeling in that hand, does it feel the same distance or further or what? Like, what does it feel like? Am I over directing more? Am I further out or further in? And then that way when you cross check and you're like, oh, I'm right on the money, it should already just kind of feel that way to you. Like, you know when you throw a ball and you're like, or you're bowling and you're already like, as soon as it leaves, hi Satoni, hi Chris. When the ball leaves your hands, it's like, that is a gutter ball. Right? That same thing is when you take your section and you're mirroring one side to the other, it can be the hardest thing to accomplish. So when you're mirroring one side to the other, it's kind of like that muscle memory. Remember what your hand felt like. Remember what the angle of this hair looked like. The over direction, it's over directed into the center. Remember the amount of stroke that you had, meaning how much am I going back and forth with the hair? How much texture am I creating, right? And kind of get that muscle memory going and try to kind of document in your brain all that's going on before you go into your next side, right? So that way you're already just pretty much prepared for to execute it on the opposite side. Cool. We're gonna spray that one more time. I keep moving my spray left to right. Oh no, it's okay. I'll get some more. And we love a doll head, right? She doesn't complain very much. Okay, notice I'm holding my comb like way away from where I'm cutting. I'm not holding it here, I'm holding it there. That's a huge thing when razor cutting, is just like get the comb out of the way so that you don't have to think about it. You're thinking about everything else. And as I'm working my way towards this nape hairline, I'm actually over directing more and more, right? And my blade is way more open. Open, close, open, close, open, close. And then when I comb this down, you'll see like all that beautiful texture that we created. There's always gonna be this cute little peak right here, this nice little long piece that kind of stretches forward because that's the way that their hair is, right? They have like this little corner here. So if your client doesn't have a corner, maybe you need to over direct a little bit more. Take into consideration their hairline underneath their hair before you even kind of go in to execute this, because maybe there's stuff you need to get rid of, right? She's already looking very cute, right? She's got lots of texture, lots of fun stuff going on. So this is essentially the pixie part where we collapsed everything. But then we left ourselves a lot of room to play in the exterior, because I want that bob to sit above these hairs. I want these hairs to be like this really fun, like moments, right? And I don't even have them as much as I wish I did, but like, you know, those little fun flecks of moments that come through and add like that detail or that secret sauce or that extra something special. So now I'm gonna go in with this area is the bob, okay? So we're just gonna go, it's quick, they're small sections, but they are mighty, and you have to go in with a lot of intention, and you have to know where you're headed with this look, okay? So I'm gonna take one section on each side and start to visualize exactly where I'm headed, right? So one section here, one section here, and then I'm also going to look at just how much hair do I have left. That's pretty fine, and this is pretty fine. So am I gonna go in and take a lot of weight out? Absolutely not, because I don't have much to spare, in all honesty, right? I don't have a lot to spare. Is there a question? Hi. How's it going? Good to see you. Okay, so because I don't have a lot of hair to spare, and I'm gonna tilt her head up towards me, you can tell, and this might be a great point to even put your razor down and pick up your scissors, which, why not? Let's do all the things. So I could pick up my scissors now, because I'm like, okay, now I'm not breaking down and softening this line, I'll strengthen it a little bit, right? And I want this bob to be just above where these little pieces are. So right where I created, if you can see that, try to make it more substantial for you. These detail pieces, I want the bob to sit like 1/4 of an inch higher than that. So I'm gonna bring this down, and I like that it's a little bit dry, because I can see kind of where these wave patterns naturally like break apart. It's lovely, and it's such a good visual to kind of go, okay, I'm just gonna emphasize you. Like, okay, I'm gonna create these little, actually it's pretty strong V shapes in the hair, and emphasize the curl pattern that's already kind of breaking like apart from the other hairs, right? It's saying, I want to be my own person, right? So I'm allowing that to happen. I'm saying, okay, you want to be a curl, you want to be a curl, right? And it's just wave. Like, I'm sure this client would probably be the one that just like comes in and says like, oh, I don't have curly hair, and they leave with all these waves, and you're like, you thought you didn't have curly hair. And I'm looking for general balance. So when I cross-check my section, I'm like, that piece, right? I'm not straightening it up all the way. I'm looking for like balance in the line, because I don't want it to be too perfect. I love the way you do hair. You're so talented. You're so kind for saying that. Hey, love from India. Love it. I've yet to go to India. I'd love to go to India. What are the places I should go? Okay, so bringing this down. Now I'm going to kind of cut, just like add a little tension and just kind of go in and add a little bit of the texture, but we're creating essentially a square line, right? So we're just gonna match that on both sides. Can you guys see good? Are you able to see? Awesome. How you doing? Oh, you're so awesome. If I called, a point cut. Yeah, it is called a point cut. Point cut. But also, there's so many ways to point cut, right? There's deep point cutting. If you point cut at a 90 degree, you're removing weight. If you change your degree, you're getting rid of length, right? So depending on how you point cut the hair, there is a million ways to point cut, just like, and slide cut, and like, so if I'm holding the hair here and I'm creating a little point there, that's actually a slide cut, right? There's a lot of different ways to call it, but then That's if I like kind of want to go around that curl pattern. When I choose to point cut is when I want to add some strength, and when the hair is just pushing opposite of my shears. So I can see like the hair is kind of gonna push right there. So you're really listening to the hair. Texturizing, so much of it is about like letting the hair talk to you. As far as I'm concerned, I love a good precision cut. I love to challenge myself on the regular, and I love to learn like all of like the disciplines of every type of hair cutting, so that then I can be like, I like to express myself this way, and you're not just expressing yourself without the knowledge to back it up, right? Cool, you rock. Oh, Darjeeling, oh yeah. Okay, cool, you guys are letting me know places to visit. I would love to visit. Oh, nice. So yeah, you guys are from the same. Awesome. Love it. We can do, oh yeah, you can totally do a longer version of this. You can definitely do a shorter version of this. I love a shorter version of this because it just looks like such like a little micro bob. And now I'm going in real time with my second section and just doing the exact same thing. I'm looking at the underneath and kind of like hitting the points at opposite areas than what I hit before. So I can go in pretty quick and just knock that out. I like that her hair's drying a little bit because I can actually see exactly where I need that thickness, right? Very cool. How's it going? My Instagram it's pinned up top. It is Brianna Cisneros, which is my name. And yeah, it is original, right? I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot more Brianna Cisneros in the world. But when I Google them, there's only a few. I'm like really surprised by that because I feel like there would be more. Cool. So I immediately start moving it around, start styling it without manipulating it too much, right? Like I want to see what the hair is doing. Is it doing what I want it to do? Is it, right? Is it fighting me at all? And do I need to, readjust, right? But we like it. We think it's cute. Okay. So now you can move on to these front two sides. I like to handle the entire underneath first. And I love to kind of situate it based on like what I want to see. I didn't clip this because I don't love when a bang section in the salon, I'll do like a really awkward side swoop. Say their hair naturally wants to push this way. I'll do this awkward side swoop and kind of just like loosely clip it, right? Because I hate when you cut bangs and then they stick out like a broomstick because they have to get trained, right? Hello in Argentina. So it's just about being mindful every step of the way, everything that you're doing, being extremely mindful about the why and how you're like styling it already as it's taking shape. Okay, so I like to see kind of what's happening underneath before I establish this like front section right here. Cool? So I look at the underneath and I kind of see where those wispy babies are. And I want to kind of like follow that guide from the underneath. Hi, a styling video. You know what? We won't have a time to do a full styling video today here. So I will go on Brianna Cisneros, go live right after this and style this. Does that sound good? Because everybody asks for a styling video. And can you see what I'm doing? Cool. We're really taking into consideration these pieces, where it lays, and where her natural wave is. All right, now we can go in. But yeah, everybody's like, how do you style this? How do you style this? How do you style this? But so much of it is happening while I'm cutting it. This, for instance, this piece was really thick. So I switched to the flat of my blade to carve it down and hug it into the head more. You know what I mean? So like even that is styling the hair. You know, the cut should be a part of that process. And kind of as you're unlocking and unleashing her curl and her wave pattern, I'm kind of somewhat styling it right now, right? Cool. How y'all doing? Hi in Italy. It's, oh cool, the Dominican Republic. That's another place I haven't been. Gosh, I would love to visit the Dominican Republic. I love Italy. I am a huge fan of Italy, their food and their people. Everything. All good things. They got a lot going. Will this live be saved? Oh, you're missing parts because your connection's bad. I hope it's not my connection that's bad. You guys, you're connected, right? Are you guys okay? So I will save the live, but sometimes Instagram just hates you, and it's like, I don't know, weird things can happen. So make sure you pay attention. So here we go. Now this is cut slightly shorter than my next section because now I want to start to remove weight again. This is the pixie portion of the cut. I'm kind of ignoring this bob portion, looking at the pixie portion underneath the hair and connecting the front to that underneath portion. Yeah. And I'm loving all of her texture. So I'm actually like allowing myself to leave a little bit more length than I normally would. Like, so I don't know. So because it's like a mannequin. So I would just be like, let's go short. But I feel like this is really the popular length right now. In all honesty, I think a lot of people, well, I take that back. Is there a popular length? I'm getting asked for this kind of length, like where there's lots of like, you know, texture and tendrils and things, right? And extra pieces and flowiness. So I'm trying to give you the biz. So now I'm just above her ear, and this is the part where I'm really gonna kind of get a big wide open stroke. And I'm still leaving it soft, but it's almost like, you know how in a bob they tell you like, be careful, don't cut the hole in. I'm basically cutting the hole in on purpose. I'm doing it on purpose because I love it. So now we're gonna do the same to the opposite side relatively quickly while her bangs are just chilling to the other opposite side. Because when you kind of flat wrap your bangs from side to side, that's what's gonna help them kind of just lay more, just more naturally, right? Cool. I love that our hair is kind of drying as we go. It has so much slip from the Miracle Hair Rescue Spray. Like it's shiny and glossy and like slippery. I wish you could feel it. You know how like everybody thinks this, okay, this is a really weird analogy. I hope it's okay that I'm saying this. How snakes are like not slimy. Have any of you like pet a snake? They're not slimy. They're like silky, smooth, soft, but just like beads of water would just go right off of them. That's almost like what the hair feels like. It's like, I hate to say like petting a snake, that's weird. But it's like if velvet was smooth and not rough, you know, like it's just insane. So I'm getting crazy amounts of glide with my razor, even with as dry as this hair is, which I'm kind of in the moment being like, that's an aha moment for me. I usually make sure the hair is at least wet enough on the ends, but there's no fraying, there's no resistance, and it's gliding through beautifully. Thank you, Miracle Hair Rescue. So that's cool. That's a cool aha moment. Okay, I'm just above her ear, pulling it out. Still kind of concave. I'm pulling it straight out from the head. I'm not over directing one way or the other, somewhat creating a round shape. If you want, you can take a guide from the underneath in the back and just delicately connect that through. Cool. Very cute. She's adorable. Okay, so now we can either move on. You have options. There's not one way to do things. There's never just one way to do things. You can move on to your bang section, or you can move on to your crown section. I like these hairs. Well, let's cross-check her. I feel like maybe I was being a little generous on this other side, which, hey, it's real. Ever so slightly. So this brings up a perfect learning moment, is that if you feel like, okay, because typically when I do a second side, I want to leave it subtly longer to make sure I'm like not making it too short. What kind of tension are you using? Lots of tension. Always perfect tension in this hand means a better cut in this hand. You see, oh, I'm not cut up. There we are. Cool. Where am I from? I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I lived in Los Angeles my whole life in Orange County, and then I just moved back to Pittsburgh, and I'm loving it. I'm thriving. It's so good. cool. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so we can either work out this fringe, and sometimes when you just do the most impactful kind of moment first, it's great. Sometimes you know your client and you're like, I'm gonna leave you some long hair to like have a comfort blanket. Because this part is kind of the bob and all they see is like Bixie and they're like, kind of panicking. So we're gonna go back to this crown section. Yay, everybody should visit Pittsburgh. It's the coolest, most underrated city. It's so cool and so artistically inspiring. So much of our career, it's like fighting for inspiration, right? You have to constantly battle yourself, battle the forces around you, battle people here on Instagram, making you not feel like enough. Like all of that is always trying to wage war with your creativity and kind of like, thwart it in some kind of way. So it's really cool here. This is her exact, facing me exactly. And this is the section I'm taking in the crown. And yeah, so I think that it's great that you're all here, that you're watching this, and visit more towns, travel more, get outside, do what you need to do, and stay inspired. I love Wella Hair. I love Wella Education. I love everything that they're doing. They're always changing things up to make sure that they're feeding you guys. Okay, this is a pixie part. So now I'm going to go in, and I have this diagonal section. I'm going to go in with my blade. And I want this hair to essentially hug her crown, okay? So I want it to hug her crown. So I'm cutting kind of square, but obviously this is further over directed, right? But I'm cutting kind of square. Now I'm gonna tilt her head towards me more. And that will automatically elevate my section. So I don't have to like be up here and feel really awkward. I can just hold it out exactly where I was and it'll automatically be elevated because her head position has changed. Big wide open strokes, and you're just going to work your way through you could do the entire crown. I like to do the entire crown because it just gives you less hair to do on the opposite side, right? How you guys doing? Can you see? So with each time I'm gonna push her head and tilt it a little bit more towards me so that I can stay in the same position. Big wide open stroke. She's got lots of heavy hair right there. There we go. And last one. And this won't even be the length of what this is going to be. It's just going to help me kind of have some kind of connectivity and some visual, right? So then when she puts her head back up, it'll be definitely lopsided, right? You're going to have exactly what you want on this side and too long of hair on that side. So we're going to come back through the crown on the opposite side, pushing the hair, right? Taking like a diagonal section, fine teeth of the comb, bringing it towards me, letting the underneath drop out, right? Bringing that towards me. Can you guys see that? And trying to not block myself here. Establish your length there. Cool. And then again, I'm going to tilt her head a little bit more, which is going to elevate the section just a slight bit higher. How are you guys doing? Yeah, I want to see your skills. Pixie cut only can do with razor. No. Absolutely not. You can absolutely do this with shears. You can point cut your way through. I'll show you what I like to do to kind of create the razor effect with the shears. I like to use my shears and in the exact same way. Sometimes you have to change the way you're holding the hair, or typically I like to work from fingertips, right? So if I'm holding the hair here, I would even work from the bottom, and I'm opening and closing my shears as I'm pulling the hair, right? Okay, cool. Hi to Jessica. All right, so opening and closing my shears as I'm like bringing the hair towards me, and it kind of creates those like little channels of texture within the section, right? So same thing. Next section, elevate higher, which means just tilting her head further, and maybe you do want to elevate a little higher. There's only a little bit of hair here to cut. See how easy that is? It's like a 1-2 punch on the other side because you pretty much already established everything. Cool. And since we're using our shears, we'll just continue in that fashion. Let's bring her head back up to normal. Cool. Feeling good? Cute. We've got a cute little bob here. The pixie underneath. The pixie on top. She's shaping up real nicely. Cool. So I'm going to take pie-shaped sections, over direct vertically, and just kind of carve out this little moment right there. You see that? Bringing it to the center, straight up, concave, not a lot of hair, just a little bit. Cool? Same right here. Change your client's position because you need your fingertips to be down. Cool. Fingertips down. Can you see that? Carving in like a little scooping, C-shaping, boom, gone. And the reason we're not taking much hair there is because all we want is this little pop. We just want this little like boop right there, but we want this general shape to stay the same. Okay, we are almost there, guys. You're doing great. You've all hung out with me this whole time. You're amazing. All right, cool. Technique name, it is the Bixie. Oh, you're very welcome. I get insecure to try to speak my Spanish back to you, so I'm sorry, but you're very welcome. What scissors are those? These are my fancy scissors. My friend Jacob Kahn, he has a line, and these are them. And he's amazing. Okay, so parting the hair down the center. Oh, that's somewhat center. So now notice I am jumping to the fringe, right? I'm jumping to the fringe, and I'm leaving that center section for last. Now the reason that I do that is when you just cut from short to long on the top of the head, it's very easy, very, very easy to kind of just like lose your way. Like, where am I headed, right? And then you end up with all this length in the front and all this hair that you're like, oh, that's not it. And then you try to work backwards and then cut the bangs and then try to texturize more and you're going back and forth, back and forth. Bixie is just a pixie and a bob. Had a baby, that's all. And like a Shih Tzu, right? Or a Shixie or whatever, all the things. All the dogs that are mixed with poodles these days. All right, so I'm taking a smaller triangle in the front, boom, okay? I wanna show you that elevation. I'm bringing it straight out from her head, just there. And I'm gonna cut this shorter than you think I should. So I'm gonna do in a rocking motion, these tiny little bitty pieces. And if it gets stuck, just stop, regather, and try again. The whole point is that there's like an ease to the way that it's coming off. I actually, even when I'm cutting with the razor, so there's her first little, so it looked short at first, right? And then it was like, wait a minute. No, it's great, it's perfect, we love it. But you want to kind of look at the angle and imagine that tiny little centerpiece. You want it to hit right between their eyebrows. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my protective leave-in by Miracle Hair Rescue. Because now that her hair is getting a little drier, I'm going to start like styling it up. And I feel like I get a little bit more styleability with this product so she doesn't get all fuzzy, right? Just because of her natural hair, the way that it is. Cool, so now I can choose to go in with either the razor or the scissors. What's your vote, razor or scissors? Love it. Cool. So now that we've got that established, that's kind of going to guide us all the way through these bang section. And I only need to take a few sections here also because we want this live to be consumable for you guys. I don't want to take forever. Razor, razor. All right, we're switching back to the razor. Here we go. Now that my hands are super slippery, let's do it. Razor, razor, razor. Okay, so even when I'm using the razor, I'll use the scissors in that first section. All right, so now make sure when you are around her nose, your razor blade is the furthest away from her nose. I'm opening up and closing that like, that stroke so that it's nice and soft, but I'm going just a little bit longer than my previous section. Cool? And I'm just gonna do this whole side and then the next whole side since I'm already standing here. But if you're just starting out, I recommend doing one side then the other, one side then the other. Razor blade is away from her nose. I'm using the heel of my blade, the back part of my blade. Now when I get to this last piece, I'm gonna kind of reevaluate, because that's a really important piece. I feel like this center piece is very important and this last piece. So I'm gonna just look at that and be like, do I want it shorter or do I want it longer? And I just kind of want it skinnied out and to marry into these underneath hairs right there. Cool? Now let's cut the other side. You guys doing great? Cute. Razor. Somebody said scissors. Okay, let's do the scissors on this side. I think this is the hard side with the scissors, which is very convenient for you all. Let's show you the hard side with the scissors. Meaning, if I want to stand in front of her face, my wrist is going to get it's going to be a bit of an awkward looking thing where I have to work upside down to keep my wrist nice and straight. This is so cute. Love your work. Oh, thank you guys. So opening and closing, getting that beautiful razor effect, but with my scissors, right? We can switch back and forth. People get very intense about oh, I would never cut with a razor. I only cut with scissors. My world opened up. And I know as a hairdressers, we're allowed to have opinions. It's your craft. It's your art. If you don't have opinions about it, what are you even doing, right? You should have opinions about what it is that you love and don't love in the industry. But for me, I can only share my own experience. And for me, what really opened up my artistry and my craft was being okay, I'm going to learn all of the rules from everybody, and then I'm going to learn how to bend them, and then I'm going to learn everybody's tricks, and I'm going to learn as much as I can. But at the end of the day, what do I like? What do I want to see? And also, what inspires me? What lights my fire again, right? And also, I think it's just really important to I was I'm going to celebrate every single tool and find the best way to use every tool for me, right? Hi, guys. Hi, hola, hello. Hi. Aw. Oh, yeah, so maybe, I think you're saying, it might be illegal? Is that what you're saying? But anyway, if you can't use the razor, you can get the look with scissors, right? So, all good. Cool. So now I want to give myself this reassurance. I want to look. I can already see what I need to connect through, right? You could leave it like that. You could make a little mullety situation, but this is a Bixie, so we're going for the bob situation. So I'm going to bring this down, and this is going to become the new lengths of the bob, right? And just kind of creating the lengths right here, point cutting, creating those little zigzaggies. Everybody has different words for them. But point cutting, it looks like a picket fence, the top of a picket fence, right? To not overcomplicate it. Cool, and I'm loving it. I'm loving that it's rounded out a little bit. It's hugging her. So cute. So now, I'm going to lift this straight up. Hello, hello. The Kristen Cavallari cut. Did she cut a Bixie? Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool to see. Yeah, she's awesome. One of my dear friends absolutely adores her. Okay, we're going straight up. Cool. And now I'm going to use that new hair from the underneath as my new guide. I'll back up so you can see exactly. I'm going to pass my guide, which is right here. See how it falls out? I'm going to go in and create the length. In, create the length. In, create the length, in, create the length. And I'm going to do that for the next few sections. I have 2 sections before I get to, and you can even take a little guide from the back because you're going to have this teeny little hair in the back. And you kind of want to find a way for your new to connect kind of to your old, right? And so that would be a razor scenario would be easier to kind of use there. I'll show you the razor on the other side, right? In, up, and I'm creating more texture and shorter pieces on the top, but when it all falls down, you definitely have that bob, right? With all these beautiful hidden interior layers, and a little bit of layering through the top. It's fabulous, fabuloso. I love it. It's like, this is like, I'll never like not be passionate about a cut that, like, this is the thing, guys. You can make your own technique, okay? Everyone is special. Everyone has talent and artisticness and a uniqueness about them, right? And the way that they cut hair, the way they perceive color, the way that you execute things, what you like, what you don't like. And she has a big bright green thread in her hair. Isn't that lovely? But we're all unique, right? And so, yes, I made up this technique, the sectioning, and how I do it, but you can take this, you can morph it, mold it to suit you better and like what you feel. The whole point is to take like inspiration from it and make it your own, you know? And that's when it really comes, oh, I was gonna use a razor. That's when it really comes to life for you and when you really own it and you really have ownership in it, right? So I feel like anyone can make up techniques as long as you understand sectioning, as long as you understand all of your tools and you understand, there's my guide, the why, right? You understand all of that. I'm gonna come up this way to connect the back and then come back this way. Cool, guys. Well, I want to preemptively thank all of you, even though I'm gonna kind of finger style her out. We are not done yet. But I just want to kind of preemptively like thank all of you guys for hanging out with me this whole time, making this live so special. I really appreciate all of you. I have so much gratitude for just being able to be in this space and here with you guys all today and be able to share. So thank you for always just being like such awesome champions of the craft and bringing your unique artistic approach to life. Right? And I know here at Wella Education that is very, very, very important to them. So thank you, Wella Education, for having me. I'm going to have so much fun trying your approach. I would try cutting the sides and back and foundation before heading into the bob portion. Wonderful teaching method. That's a skill in itself. Aw, hi, Megan. How are you? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. We aren't done. We are going to kind of like texturize this top portion, but yeah, it's so incredible, to hone in all your skill set. If you want to teach one day, if you want to, whatever your goals and dreams are, the hair industry is the perfect place for you because I feel like it truly opens up so much opportunity, in business, in your art, and everything. So here we go, the protective leave-in. I keep kind of bouncing back and forth between my new two favorite products because the Miracle Hair Rescue line is just that. It's like velvet in a little jar. But I'm glad I got this done before it cut me off. So you can see even as I'm kind of just like bringing it up, kind of just like letting the product melt into the hair a little bit. Aw, so beautiful. Awesome. With a lot of thick hair. Yes, this would be an incredible cut. I actually have a lot of hair. And the reason it's so great for that is because you basically are doing such a big undercut under here and under here that essentially you're collapsing so much of that weight. So sometimes if somebody has a huge, like tons and tons and tons of hair and they want a bob and you're like, you are gonna look like a triangle, right? It's just gonna whoop and it's gonna be too much volume. That's exactly why. So cool. So she's still a little bit, all right, on textured hair. I would love to do that. You know what? That'll be my next class on Renegade Rolls. We'll do the Bixie on textured hair. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And textured hair doesn't lay like this. It lays a little differently, right? So it's incredible how it translates. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Just a quick kind of recap. We have the Bixie, we have the Pixie underneath, which I'm kind of loving these pieces. I could soften maybe right here, but sometimes it's like you get rid of like some of the cool factor when you take away too much of what's happening on the underneath, because that's like